Picture this. You're 34. You open your banking app. You check the balance. And something hits you. Not that you're not broke, but your investment account, the one you were supposed to start 3 years ago, still sits at zero. And the worst part? You were responsible. You read the articles. You watched the videos. You knew about compound interest before you were 22. But there was the move, then the pay cut, then the wedding, then the car died. Then you switched jobs and the timing just wasn't right. Every single decision made sense in the moment. Every single one. And here you are, 34, starting from zero. This isn't a story about being careless with money. This is a story about something nobody warned you about. Investing in your 20s is the right call, and it's going to hurt in ways that have nothing to do with not knowing what to do. Before we go further, I know what you're thinking. This isn't me. I get it. I understand compounding. I just need the right moment. Fair. I'm not here to tell you you're lazy. I'm not here to explain what an index fund is. What I am here to do is show you something most financial content doesn't touch. Why understanding investing and actually doing it in your 20s are two completely different problems. One is an information problem. The other is a life problem. And life problems don't get solved by spreadsheets. 3 sections. Here's what we're covering. First, the real numbers, not the theoretical ones. The ones that show you exactly what each year of delay costs, in a way you can feel, not just calculate. Second, the strongest argument against investing in your 20s. I'm going to give it to you straight, because it's actually a good argument. Then I'm going to show you where it quietly falls apart. Third, the exceptions. The scenarios where waiting genuinely makes sense. And at the end, a framework. 3 questions. Something you can use this week, not someday. Let's go. Meet Alex. Alex is 23. Makes $52,000 a year. Lives in a mid-sized city. Rent is $1,200 a month. Student loans, $280 a month. Not extravagant, not irresponsible, just normal. Every personal finance article tells Alex to invest $300 a month. So let's run that. $300 a month, starting at 23, 7% average annual return. By 65, $887,000. Sounds great. Here's the part they don't show you. Alex's take-home after taxes, $3,500 a month. Rent, $1,200. Loans, $280. Groceries, utilities, phone, transport, $800. That leaves $1,220. $300 into investments sounds easy on paper, but that's 25% of everything Alex has left after the basics. Then the car needs new brakes. $600. Then Alex's roommate moves out and rent jumps to $1,500. Then a flight home for a family emergency, $380. The $300 disappears. Not because Alex is bad with money, because real life has a variable cost that no retirement calculator accounts for. Here's the number that actually matters. If Alex starts at 23 and invests $300 a month until 65, $887,000. If Alex waits until 30, same amount, same return, $547,000. The difference? $340,000. Lost. Not spent, not enjoyed, just gone. 7 years of delay. $340,000. That's not a scare tactic. That's the math. And the reason those 7 years disappear isn't ignorance. It's that 23 to 30 is the most financially turbulent decade of most people's lives. Unstable income, unexpected expenses, and zero margin for error. The system isn't designed for people who are just starting out, and nobody tells you that up front. Now here's where I'm going to do something most finance videos don't. I'm going to give you the best argument against investing in your 20s. And I mean the best version of it, not a straw man. The argument goes like this. Your 20s are your highest ROI decade for human capital investment. Every $1,000 you spend on a skill, a course, a move to a better city, or building a network pays back $10,000 to $100,000 in lifetime earnings. Compound your career first. Compound your money later. A 28-year-old earning $90,000 instead of $52,000 because they invested in themselves will crush the one who invested $300 a month into index funds. That argument is genuinely compelling, and it's not wrong. Here's where it quietly falls apart. It assumes the money not invested into markets actually goes into career development. But look at what actually happens. Behavioral economics research consistently shows the same pattern across the 25 to 34 age group. When people skip automatic investment contributions, that money doesn't go into courses or networking. It dissolves into lifestyle inflation. A nicer apartment, more dining out, better vacations. Things that feel earned. Things that are earned, honestly. But they don't compound. The human capital argument works when you are disciplined enough to redirect the investment money intentionally into your own growth. Most people aren't. Not because they're weak. Because willpower is a finite resource, and your 20s drain it fast. There's a second assumption buried in that argument. It assumes that career growth and financial investment are mutually exclusive. They're not. You can invest $100 a month at 23 and still take a $500 course. You can automate $150 and still move cities for a better job. The either-or framing is a false dilemma. The real issue isn't choosing between self-investment and market investment. The real issue is starting anything at all. But here's the honest part I promised. There are situations where the counter-argument wins. If you have high-interest debt, anything above 8%, paying that down is mathematically equivalent to a guaranteed 8% return. No index fund promises you that. If you have zero emergency fund, investing first is genuinely dangerous. One unexpected $1,800 expense will wipe out months of contributions and put you in credit card debt that costs more than your investments earn. If you're in a career moment that requires upfront cash, a certification, a tool, a move, and the math shows a clear income jump within 12 months, the short-term sacrifice can be worth it. These are real exceptions, but they have one thing in common. They're temporary. They have an end date. They're not a philosophy. They're a pause. The danger is when a pause becomes a default, when not the right moment becomes the permanent state. Now let's talk about how that actually happens. This is the story of Jamie, 24 years old, smart, self-aware, reads stuff like this. At 24, Jamie has $8,000 in student debt at 6.5%. Decides to clear it before investing. Reasonable. Takes 18 months. Done at 25. At 25, Jamie gets the investing app. Sets up a $200 monthly transfer. Then gets laid off at month 3. Cancels the transfer. Fair call. At 26, new job. Better salary, $61,000. But also a new city. Deposits, furniture, the whole setup. Investing feels irresponsible when the checking account is thin. At 27, things settle. Jamie starts again, $250 a month this time. 6 months in, a relationship becomes serious. Talk of moving in together. Finances feel intertwined and complicated. Contributions get paused while they figure things out. At 28, they move in. Rent is split. Finances are actually better. But now there's talk of buying a place in a couple years. Should they invest in a market that might drop or save cash for a down payment? At 29, still renting. A colleague mentions crypto. Jamie puts $1,500 in. It drops 60%. At 30, Jamie opens a proper index fund account. For the first time. 7 years after knowing exactly what to do. No single decision was stupid. Every pause had a reason. But the accumulation, that's the real cost. Those 7 years, even at just $200 a month, would have grown to $21,000 in contributions and close to $26,000 in actual value by age 30. That's not life-changing money, but it's the foundation and the habit and the proof to yourself that you can do it. Jamie didn't lose $340,000 overnight. Jamie lost it one reasonable excuse at a time. So here's the framework. 3 questions. Answer them before you decide whether to invest this month or wait. Question 1. Is this a stop or a skip? Most people think in binary. I either invest consistently or I don't invest at all. That's wrong. A skip is intentional. You miss 1 month for a specific named reason, and you schedule a return date. A stop is when you cancel the habit with no restart date. Stops are what kill long-term investing. Skips are fine. How most people think. If I can't do it perfectly, I shouldn't start. How you should think. 1 skipped month cost me maybe $20 in lost returns. 1 stopped habit cost me years. Question 2. What is the actual number I can automate right now without feeling it? Not the number you aspire to. Not the $300 that feels responsible on paper. The number that, if it left your account on the 1st, you genuinely wouldn't notice by the 15th. For some people, that's $50. That's fine. $50 a month at 23, compounded to 65, is still $147,000. The size of the number matters less than the permanence of the habit. How most people think. I need to invest a meaningful amount or it's not worth it. How you should think. The habit is the asset. The dollar amount scales later. Question 3. What's my one real blocker right now, and does it have an end date? Name it specifically. Not a vague feeling of uncertainty. An actual blocker. High-interest debt above 8%. Yes, that's a real blocker with a calculable end date. Low emergency fund. Real blocker, solvable in 3 to 6 months. Just feels like the wrong time, not a blocker, a feeling. If your blocker has an end date, write it down. Set a calendar reminder. The day after your debt is cleared, the transfer goes live. No reevaluation. No new reasons to wait. How most people think. I'll start when things feel stable. How you should think. Stability is built by starting, not waited for. Here's what this all comes down to. Investing in your 20s isn't hard because you don't know what to do. It's hard because life is genuinely expensive and unpredictable in ways that calculators ignore. The information is never the problem. The gap between knowing and doing is where the $340,000 disappears. The people who come out ahead aren't smarter. They're not more disciplined. They just found the smallest possible version of the habit they could sustain through chaos. And they kept the automation running even when everything else was uncertain. $50 automated beats $300 planned every single time. If this landed for you, share it with someone in their 20s who keeps saying they'll start soon. Not to lecture them, just so they know what soon actually costs.